It's a lovely good evening to you, all our viewers. Thank you for joining us once again, and welcome to Ubuntu channel. We are live today, Friday, the 24th of February, and it's hot in Zambia. We are live though it's hot, yes, and we'll be discussing nothing but sports and football here in Zambia concerning the national team. The Super League is back after the international break, and to do all the analysis and also to break down the news of what is happening in the Zambian Super League, I'm joined by Lameck, who will be our resident analyst tonight. Lameck, good evening. Welcome to Winter Sports.
Good evening, Reuben, and thank you so much. I think it's another beautiful Friday where we get to talk about Zambian football, and a lot has happened over the last few days from our last show. So let's get to break down what has been happening over the past few days.
Great. Let's go just direct into it. Because the last time we were here, we talked about it was the build up actually to the Zambia versus Congo game, and we said Zambia need to win the games, and they did their job here at home, but disappointed. But before we go to the game that we disappointed away in Morocco, let's start with the home game. How did you make of that performance by Zambia, going down by 2-1, then coming back to win it by 4-2?
Anyway, over I think it was a decent performance by the team. We got to see, I think, what what the team can do, even on days where they're not at their best. Because I think yes, we beat Congo by 4-2, but I think we were not at our best during that game. I think we saw not so much from Fashion Sakala. Also from Lameck Banda, we didn't see so much like we saw in the other matches that they played. So if players, even on not on days such as those of Congo, they are able to put in such performances, then I think I'm excited for the future because I'm guaranteed that as these boys develop or continue improving, then we are yet to see or we will see better performances from the boys. But overall, it was a decent performance for me. I think a well-deserved victory, despite the scare, the 2-1 scare. But the team showed character, and a lot of it. I think the attitude was right, and just the belief that the boys had, where you go down, you know that you win, you have the patience, you try to utilize every opportunity you get. Yeah, people will call one, two, three players names for missing some opportunities, but I think we would have won by a bigger margin. But football being what it is, you may not score every chance you get. So 4-2 for me, it was a decent result, and it's something that we need to like continue pushing the boys at every opponent that comes. Let's get to a point where we can be able to record the result against almost any team. Can we get a result every time we're home? Because home advantage is what is going to get us out there.
Great. Let's talk about Patson Daka, his contribution, 2 goals in that match. This is a player that is not playing any active football at his club, but when it comes to national team, he keeps on scoring. What do you make of Patson Daka?
I think issues to do with Patson Daka should just, I think, bother so much on being comfortable and being in a place where you're appreciated and playing around players that understand you. Because, when you're playing at the top level, sometimes it's difficult. You have a difficult patch, not because you're a bad player, but because the players that you play around with don't want to give you the ball, which we've seen for Patson Daka a couple of times. So he's a decent player. He's proven once again that he's a player that you know can get us goals. Even at club level, he can get goals because he's shown. Even at Leicester City, he holds some records in Europe of having scored 4 goals in one match. one of the players in Leicester's history to score a hat trick in a European competition. So he's shown that he has a quality, but now it's just up to the manager, I think, to just push him a bit and see if he can get the best out of him. But on his day, Patson is a big threat. Look at the numbers that he's getting: 9 goals in 2023. You know how many African strikers have managed to score even at least 6 goals this year. So he is good. We just hope that he continues improving, and we hope that if Leicester don't give him that necessary game time, I think maybe we may work out a solution and see if he can get to a club where he'll get back his confidence, and also get to a level where he starts performing at the club as well. Because once we get him to a point where he's performing at the club, uh, we are almost guaranteed that we'll have, you know, we'll see the best. We are yet to see his best days. That's what I can say.
We, after scoring these goals, two at home and one away, is it enough to convince the Leicester coach and say, "Wow, this is a striker that, and maybe I need to start"? Leicester in the last two games, actually, they lost by a goal to nil in both games. Do you think this performance by Patson Daka is enough now to convince the coach and trust Patson Daka?
You know, it may or may not be enough because mm it depends on what the coach is looking at. Is he looking at the performance that you put in on with your national team, or is he looking at your style of play? Sometimes the coach, may not be a fan of your style of play, so that may be the reason why he's not being played. So he may get as many goals as he can here, but if he's not, part of the coach's plans in terms of style of play, then he may not get the minutes that we think he will get by scoring goals here in Zambia. So it's also about understanding what the coach wants, how he wants his team to play, and then can Patson Daka fit in the in the style that the coach wants to play. If it doesn't, then I think the coach should be open enough with him and see that make a way for him. I may not talk about him going to another club or him leaving the club. I think we may just try find a solution, if he whatever solution it may be, to see to it that we get this guy playing again. Because as Zambia, will benefit more once this guy starts playing and is confident again. Because him not playing, yeah, it may not be something that people will come out and say, but I think it's something that low key affecting him because it gets his confidence down. It's important to get those minutes. And people talk the same way we talk here. He's not getting minutes. The criticism that would give around him not getting minutes is something that gets to the players. So it would potentially have an impact on him and how his output at the end of the day. So the sooner he starts playing, the better for us as a country and for him as a player. So for us, we just need to hope that he makes the right decision, or even staying at the club. If a coach can start giving him the necessary game time, then for us, I think we're here to benefit if Patson Daka starts playing. We are not here to lose. We're here to benefit when Patson starts playing, and that's what we want. We hope that he gets to start playing after putting in these performances that he's putting.
Let's flip it to the next page. We saw Zambia coming back 2-1 to win the game 4-2. But in the second game, it was a different ball game altogether. We were down by 2 goals in the first half. People had hope and said since the last time we won, but it didn't happen against Niger. We lost the second game by 2-1. Is it time to pick up calculators? And I want you to get your comment and your analysis of the second game, Zambia losing to Niger.
When we look at that match that Zambia lost to Niger, a lot can be said. But one thing, first things first, when the team lose, the first thing is that we win as a team and we lose as a team. When we win, we almost praise every player that played in that match. When we lose, we don't need to go out, single out certain players, and attack their personalities or anything like that. We win as a team, we lose as a team. The same way we do One Zambia, One Nation. We win as a team, we lose as a team. So um, everyone in that squad had a role to play in the lose. The defenders, what were their job? Or the strikers, what were their job? If the strikers had scored, we wouldn't have lost. If the defenders maybe defended well, we wouldn't have conceded and lost. If the midfielders, had better impact on the game, maybe the result would have been different. So for us, I think it's not something that we need to. It's not a route that I would advise people to go to start singling out players. Oh no, this guy didn't play. No, this guy didn't do what. We lose as a team and we win as a team. And under Grant, this is the first time we are losing a competitive match. So it's something that takes a toll on the players after going on such a good run, and then you lose your first match. The impact that loss has. But again, going to the World Cup qualifiers, advantage Morocco, because they have two matches against Niger that will be played, that will possibly be played in Morocco. So they'll have the two matches against Zambia and against Tanzania in Morocco, plus two matches also against Niger. So that's four matches at home. If you have the numbers, the fans coming out, it will be, they are almost guaranteed of 2 to 3 wins or even 4 wins, depending on how they prepare. So that's a huge advantage for them. So for Zambia, we need to put in twice as much work to get to a point where we can be able to qualify. So now we're talking about Zambia going to Tanzania, picking up a win, coming home, beating Tanzania again, not giving away or dropping points against Morocco. We need to get a result against Morocco here in Zambia. We need to go to Congo Brazzaville, get a win, because now it's difficult. And when we go to Morocco again, we just need to make their life difficult. We cannot go punch for punch because maybe they have better quality than what we have, but we can try, I think, get a result away in Morocco. If we manage to get a result, then it's possible that we can qualification is almost guaranteed to the World Cup. So we need a lot of character from the boys, and we need a lot of push from the boys to put in extra work. But again, we need to. It's something that I think we need to be honest with ourselves in regards to the team that we have. We've placed so much expectations on the team, forgetting one thing: the current national team that is here is a work in progress. So it's a team being built. So we can't put so much pressure on such a team. It's a team being built. It may have these breakdowns once in a while, but we need to keep encouraging these boys until we get to a level where we have, a team. We have, look at, for example, look at the Nigeria that has all the stars, big name players in world football, struggling to beat, Lesotho, a team that we walked over here in Lusaka and away in South Africa. Look at Ghana going to Comoros, losing with all the big name players that they have, playing in the top leagues in the world with all the quality that they have. So for Chipolopolo, it is a work in progress. We just need to be patient. We need to support these boys and continue encouraging them. On the Niger match, I think Niger's plan worked out. It wasn't because Zambia was bad. It was because Niger had a plan and their plan worked out. That's why we lost. Look at how quickly they closed Lameck Banda, how quickly they closed Fashion Sakala, because they knew every time Zambia's biggest threat was Lameck Banda with the ball and Fashion Sakala with the ball. So they tried to, press as fast as possible. They made sure that they disturb Kings Kangwa, they disturb Emmanuel Banda, they disturb the Triple C, such that whenever these guys got the ball, they had a Niger player behind them, putting pressure on them. It made our work very difficult because these guys pressed at a very fast pace, and I think we needed, we needed to find a better plan to approach that match after seeing what happened in the first half. Yes, the goals will talk about the defense, being cut in half for the first goal. The second goal, yeah, we may talk about Chepesh. Maybe he could have done better. He shouldn't have fallen. Shouldn't have gone for a challenge in that, after he was dribbled, he should have gone for a body contact because of, the West Africans are bigger. So that kind of thing where you go physical, then you may lose, which happened. We may look at that aspect of the game. But again, football being what it is, it's just about plan. Whoever has a better plan, or whichever team has their plan working, is the one that will win. Sometimes, you find teams having 20, 30 shots on target, but still losing 2 to 3 goals to nil. It's because the other team had a plan and they executed their plan well. That is what football is. And for Zambia, we didn't see as many chances as we have when we play, I think, when we get into our rhythm. And for the Niger side, they just needed, they broke our rhythm. It was difficult for us to play the way we play. They make our life very uncomfortable. The fashion Sakala,
Uh,
we could barely
Lameck,
see what the fashion that we know. We could barely see the
Lameck,
parts on Dakar that we know. We could barely see the Lameck banda that we are used to seeing, because the Niger had a plan and their plan worked. Not because we are a bad team or we had bad players, or maybe one player didn't play well, the other didn't do what. It's just because Niger had a plan and their plan worked. That's why we lost.
okay,
So it's
all
something
right.
that we,
Before I
yes,
bring
Reuben.
in Joseph, one interesting part about the Niger game was fans called for a change in the goalkeeping department, and they also called for Triple C to start, and we saw those changes coming in. Triple C started in that game. We saw Lawrence Mulenga starting in that game, but the team rather didn't perform according to what people expected. Actually, they performed badly. Was those two changes that brought in Avram Grant made, bringing in Lawrence Mulenga and also bringing in Cletus Chama? Uh, did they cause any uh, system changes that destabilized the team that played the first game?
No, people talk about, no, you don't change a winning team. Those are all tactics. You know, football now works on, a tactical plan that the coach has depending on the opponent that you play. So, did Grant, was he pressured to bring in Triple C or Lawrence? I don't think so. I think for Francis is a young goalkeeper with so much potential. Exposing him at such a high level may actually break him. So is that guy who, if he was in goal and Zambia conceded the way we conceded, I think, the fans would have been on his back. We would have lost. We could have potentially lost a good guy, because these attacks, the social media attacks, the personal attacks that people have on these players take a toll on these players, and players tend to withdraw. And we cannot get the best out of them, because if we expose them too early, sometimes we may not get the best out of them. So sometimes when you look at that, the game also required a goalkeeper with a little bit more experience, which Lawrence had. And the goals that he conceded, you know, did Francis have, let's say, what errors did he have against Congo? Did he have an error where people would point out and say, no, he made such a mistake? Because look, the first goal that he conceded against Congo may actually just do with maybe poor positioning, which is common with goalkeepers. The second goal was something that it was a tight angle. It wasn't at the near post, it was at the far post. So it's not something that we can blame him. Same with Lawrence. Can we blame Lawrence for the goals that Niger scored? No, we can't, because there are goals that were not in his reach. Did he make a mistake, a blunder that we can point at and say, "Oh no, this guy isn't good"? No, he didn't. he didn't make that mistake. So coming out, people to come out and start insulting this guy because he conceded two goals, I think it's very unfair. For Cletus, yeah, Cletus played very well when he came on against Congo. Against Niger, expectations were very high. I think from the fans, they wanted to see the Cletus of Simba, what he does in Simba and he does it in Zambia. But this is one thing that you need to people need to understand players better. Uh, Performances may not players may not replicate performances that they have at their clubs at the national team. They have the quality, but it takes time. It takes the player being comfortable playing around the players that they are playing around with. It takes the player needs to develop chemistry with the players. They need to develop an understanding. Does this guy want to receive the ball? How is his movement? That's when we can get to see the best of players like Triple C. And I think going forward, it's just about Grant now giving, I think, these guys a little bit more trust, a little bit more games to develop the chemistry that we need in that team. We have the quality going forward. We need to just find, better defensive solutions. How do we defend as a team? How do we defend as a unit all together? Those are some of the things that the coach needs to work on. There's a lot that can be said on that team, but for me, Chipolopolo is a work in progress, and we as fans need to be very patient with that team. We need to be extremely patient and continue encouraging the boys until we get to a level where we have the players playing at the top level. Then we can. I think at that point we can now start demanding so much from them. But for now, it's a team in progress, and we continue hoping for the best from these boys.
Great. Let me introduce now the guests that have joined us. We've just been joined by Boizani and also by Joseph. Good evening, Boizani. Welcome to Winter Sports.
Thank you so much, and good evening, listeners. Is it also viewers? Sometimes we show videos. Very good submissions that I'm just getting from Lameck.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Joseph. Welcome to Winter Sports.
Good evening, Reuben, and good evening, Lameck, Mr. Bozani, and the viewers out there. Thank you for having us.
Great. Let me start with you, Joseph. We're talking about the two games that Zambia played. The first game with Congo Brazzaville, and the second game against Niger. We want to hear your analysis, and especially in the second game, why did we get it wrong?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Reuben. I'll I'll talk more about the second game where we faced Niger. For me, I feel that game was well balanced. Niger took their chances and they capitalized on some of the mistakes the defense made, especially on the first goal where the ball was just literally bypassing the defenders. And like Lameck said, you can't blame the goalkeeper on such goals that were conceded on Tuesday. So for me, I feel the better team that took their chances carried the day. Unfortunately, we were denied a clear penalty, but that's water under the bridge. We can't be crying about that. We just hope that in the coming games we'll be able to apply ourselves and continue working as a team. I feel this time around we have a very, very good team. If you see those players who started these past two games, those guys have been playing together for the past 8 or so many years. We talk of the Lameck Banders, the Fashion Sakalas, Emmanuel Banders. Those guys have been together from 2015, 16 thereabout. They know each other very well, and the team is looking good. I'm looking forward to see these guys performing wonders at the AFCON. I have so much hope in these guys. And for the goalkeeping department, I feel we need to settle for one goalkeeper going to AFCON. Let's decide who should be our first choice goalkeeper. We have no time to start making experiments now. It's about time we pick one, we go with that same person. If he makes a mistake, there's a way to rebuke him. Don't withdraw the player from the game. The next day, someone starts. It will be chaotic. This day, the keeper consists a goal, you bench him. The next day, he consists, you bench him. We need to have consistency in that aspect. Even Kenneth Mwene used to concede goals as well, but the coaches had so much confidence that this guy will be a top scoring keeper and all. So I feel we need to build that confidence in these players, in these goalkeepers we have. Yes,
If
young.
if you have Avram Grant, if you are to be Avram Grant, which goalkeeper do you go for?
For me, I would even go for Lameck. Is it Lameck Siame? That boy. For me, I feel that boy is very good, and if we are just to build confidence, that boy, we take him. He starts all the 3 games at AFCON. He continues even at World Cup qualifiers. We can have the best goalkeeper ever in that boy.
Right. Thank you for that. Let me bring in Bwezani. You've heard submissions from Joseph. You're one of the people that called for that Grant should drop Francis Mwansa, and he did that. And all of a sudden, things just didn't work out. And fans had called in to bring in Triple C in the starting lineup, which he did, but things didn't just work out. How do you make of that performance by Zambia against Niger? Hi, Bwezan, are you still there? I don't know if it's just on my end. Lameck, can you hear Bwezan?
No, I can't.
All right. Let's move on. We've got a lot to talk about. Hope Bwezan is going to join us later on. Let's bring it back to the Zambian Super League, because the league is back and it's going into week 13. We saw a lot of news happening, which was somehow hindered by the international games that were going on then. Lameck, I wanted to bring us speed of the changes that took place at Prison Leopards. We know there's a new coach now. Coach Lameck has joined Prison Leopards. How did it unfold, Lameck, at Prison Leopards?
Issues to do with Coach Lameck Banda. A lot can be said. I think
Sorry, Lameck,
it's something.
Let me try to connect
Okay.
to Bwezani, whether he's able to get that now. Bwezani,
Am
are
I
you there?
am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I was talking to myself. I realized you're not getting me. Thank God. Now I said, look, the game Niger versus Zambia was a game that the boys won before the game was played. You could tell, and you could actually see from the actions of the first game, where they were 2-1 down and managed to actually win that game 4-2. So I think that got to them. I totally want to agree with Lameck when he says it's work in progress for this Zambian national team. And you know what we've forgotten as a country is the troubles we went through from 2012 to now, when we seem like this is a team that can actually win. You understand? I think for a long time this team struggled to even qualify to AFCON. They've made it. They've qualified to AFCON. They've started the World Cup qualifiers, of course, on a high and then a loss. Okay, they've never gone through this phase. From the time Avram Grant came, he is the one who gave us a lot of confidence, and you could have seen now that that mentality of winning has come into the fans, the soccer, the players themselves. And look at what this one loss has done. Just the comments on social media. The players have to be very strong. You understand? Because people are now almost used to winning, and you can tell how it has affected them. Then you clearly stated that I'm one of those that were calling for Lawrence, for Francis Piri to be taken out of the starting lineup. I don't regret that talk, and I still maintain, even today, if you ask me to choose between the two, I'll be choosing Lawrence. Okay, because I've seen Francis Mwansa. He's a brilliant goalkeeper, but not at the stage of where we have rushed him. This is my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Um, if we are to seriously do well, Avram Grant has to decide which goalkeeper he wants. At this point in time, if he wants Lawrence Mwansa, let him. I mean, if he wants Francis Mwansa, let him continue. You can't be changing that position in and out, in and out. You make a mistake, you are out. You can't. You understand? But for the two, honestly speaking, I think Lawrence Mulenga has showed us a lot of what he can do. And I'm so very much surprised where Francis Mwansa comes from all of a sudden. And when we question these things, it's not that we hate the player. You understand? It's the same Avram Grant who said he didn't call on Chayoa Miguel because of non-game time. How are things different with other players? You understand? If these questions can be answered, no one is going to have problems. You understand? Because you say this and then you do something different. Please, this is not a church. This is football. Everyone has, Reuben, if you go to a church and the pastor is preaching, you have no right to lift your hands and question the pastor that, no, Apostle Munakambe, no, you can't do that. In football, you're allowed. You understand what I mean? So the opinions that we give, I think sometimes just seek answers. You understand? So if this cannot be done to this one, why is it being done to this one? Why do you have to bring a third choice goalkeeper at a club to break into the national team? Where have you seen him play? Those are the questions. You understand? Where have you seen him play? And then when the answer is given to say, we actually go and watch training for Green Buffaloes, and this is where we saw Francis Mwansa, then we will agree to say, okay, some of us don't go and watch training. There's something better that you want to see than what is in Lawrence. You understand? But I don't want to believe, honestly speaking, I don't want to believe that because of the social media buzz, then Avram Grant went to change the goalkeeping department. No. He also was convinced from what he saw that Francis was not good enough for that moment, and that's the reason he brought in Lawrence. Not because Bwezani, Lameck, whoever said that Francis was not good, and then if that is what Avram Grant did, then we need to question his capability as a coach. You understand? He needs to be convinced with what he wants to do. For Cletus Chotachama, I think we are being unfair. First of all, what was in the mind of Avram Grant into that game, you can practically see that the man was pushing for an early goal and settle Niger, and of course, maybe overridden as well for how Niger played against Tanzania, because he definitely has the footage of that game. So you can see where they were coming from. It was 4 days after the game against Congo. His thinking is, go into this game, get quick goals, let's come back later and settle the account. Unfortunately, it went against him. You understand? And all the stones now thrown on the Cletus Chotachama. I think as Zambians, we've really been unfair on the boy, and it is time we also just allowed the process of growth of this national team. I think for me, that's what I would say.
Thanks for that. Unfortunately, we had been joined by Albert, but seems he's dropped out. Lameck, you are bringing us to speed of the changes that had happened at Prison Leopards. We've got a new coach there, and his first assignment is against Mufulira Wanderers at home. But just bring to us the big news at Prison Leopards concerning Lameck Banda.
Yeah, so Prison Leopards appoint, I think, Lameck Banda as the head coach, taking over from Chris Kaunda after, after going to Lumwana Radiants, doing quite well at the club. So it's all about, there are questions that will always be asked, rotation of coaches and all those other issues that come to play. Again, it's all about, do you feel it's the right opportunity for you to move? There's a lot that can be put into consideration. And again, it's about the desire that the club shows. Again, it's about the trust that the club shows in you. So some of these decisions are not easy. People would criticize coaches. No, they just abandon jobs after after a week or two, after 2-3 months, or after getting an offer from another club. But a lot comes in because it's like any other person when you're doing your job. If you're offered another job elsewhere, you won't just leave. You have a lot to consider, and until you reach a point where you now decide. So we may take I think we may give ourselves as examples as we discuss issues to do with these coaches. If we're put in situations like those, people also look at maybe what job am I being offered, what institution am I going to, is it better than where I am? What are the conditions? What is happening where I am? Like all that, you put all that into consideration, and later on reach a final decision. Again, for Prison Leopards, I think it's it has shown how ambitious they are, because they've gotten quite a very very young coach who did so well with Musa. Again, at Lumana Radiance, he was building something that was looking very positive. So again, Leopards want to tap into what they've seen this guy doing. So again, this is a challenge for Lameck Banda now to go to Prison Leopards and prove that he can deliver. He can do what he did with Musa at Leopards. He can help the club survive. How far can he push this team? This is a challenge to him, and his first game being against Wanderers, that one is a tough match. It's difficult to predict. In the 2 weeks that he's been in charge, has he had enough? Has he seen enough from the players? Does he have his starting lineup? Does he stick to the team that was being used by the other coaches? Maybe he need a month or so to now pick the right players that he wants. He feels can play. But Mighty again are pushing for Absa, so they come in. They're coming in for to pick a result. They're not coming in, with the mentality that they will drop points. They want to fight for every ball. They want to fight for a result in this match. So for him, it's a difficult task, but the hope is that he may start on a positive note. Same with Mwenyachi Pepo after leaving Power Dynamos and being appointed Forest Rangers coach. It's about being comfortable, because if you look at also the Mwenyachi Pepo case, he had 1-2 other offers that clubs calling him. So it was also about feeling, is this the right club for me? Does it provide the right environment for me? Once he's made that decision, he's appointed, he's given the job, he now needs to start working, because the club now has given him a task. That task that he has, it starts now against Konkola Blades, away to Konkola Blades. And we all know Chilabombo is not an easy, place to visit and get a result. So he has to show, because winning the league with Power Dynamos is set the bar really high for himself. So everyone also, and for these two coaches, and these guys are quite young. They've set the bar really high for themselves. They need to continue improving and prove wherever they go. They need to show, because people are expecting that of them. Overall, I think rotation of coaches in the Zambian Super League has a lot more to do with the sponsorship and financial capabilities of the clubs, because if you look at the financial side of things, and we look at the expatriate coaches, if we put in the money is into dollars, how much is it? How much can we pay this guy? It later puts us at a disadvantage for us to get top quality coaches, because if a foreign player or a foreign coach is coming to get a job at a local club, I think they need to perform better than what we have. And for me, this is my policy. If we're going out there to get someone foreign, let them do or work twice as hard as what we have. Look at what the EPO does. Players that go there in the EPO, and you hear big name players, they are putting in twice as much work than the local players that they are putting in. So that is the mentality that we need to get, that we need to adopt. And going forward, I think opportunities are opening up. But I wish both coaches, Mwenye and Lameck Banda, all the best as they kickstart at their new jobs. And let's see what Saturday brings from the two coaches.
Great. With a new coach at Prison Leopards, we're aware that uh, in the red zone. Do you think Lameck is enough to change the fortunes of this club and begin to pick up points and survive relegation?
Is
The mic
Lameck
is yours.
enough? That's a very big question. But I think his track record in recent times will actually tell you to say he is maybe what Prison Leopards need. Unlike what Lameck is saying, I don't think he was successful at Lumwana. You understand?
We
He
withdrawn?
was, yes. Are you getting me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, so he stabilized the team, but I think there were other teams that looked better. The condition of Lumana Radiance, the exit of players could have contributed to a bit of struggling for Lameck Banda into that team. Okay, but then at Prison Leopards, well, you have to work extra hard because I look at the Prison Leopards team. What they need is not only Lameck Banda; they also need a number of players to join in that team. You understand what I mean? Because the type of football that Lameck plays is totally different from most of the players that are at Prison Leopard. So keeping them safe from relegation, I hope will be the target. Push until January to get one or two players and see what they can actually do to just help him with more human resource. Because the players that he has at the moment, yes, they can only take him that far.
Right, and let's talk about Munyach Paper. It seems to love a yellow color from one yellow team to another yellow team, Forest Rangers, and is facing a new coach at Konkola and Benston Chambeshi. Uh, Forest are away this weekend to Konkola. Do you think uh, now Forest Rangers who go into the top half of the table, looking at his uh, task which was given by the team by the management, is that the team should qualify into the ABSA tournament?
Well, I think that's the challenge that he has. When you talk about Mwenya's People, the first thing that comes into your mind is the league title that he won with Power Dynamo. So the stakes are high. You understand, but then we all know that the relationship with Power Dynamos was seriously broken. It was going to be very difficult to mend it, and they would allow him to leave just and see what he can do elsewhere. But for me, I think Mwenyezi people should decide what he wants. If it is Forest now, stick around. Show what he can show. Because look, I've followed his track record. In Prison Leopards, he seems to be doing well. Jumps to Indeni, he seems to be doing well. Goes to Power Dynamos, he seems to get the league. He gets it. When he's trying to solidify his team, leaves again to Forest Rangers who are struggling. Look, it's very difficult to seriously see what Mwenyezi Pepo is. And I think had he finished this season with Power Dynamos, we would have had an idea this is what he can do. Because what if it was a fluke season? You understand what I mean? So I seriously don't support the movement of Mwenyezi Pepo. He needs to seriously settle down. See, let him show us what he's really capable of doing. He has a big opportunity now with Forest Rangers because we all know where he has found Forest Rangers. Whatever he's going to do, I hope at the end of the season he won't run again to go to
All
the
right.
city of Lusaka, because city of Lusaka will come into the Super League without a doubt. Do you understand what I mean? So it's that inconsistency because I don't think even Forest Rangers are now very comfortable that we've gotten our coach. You understand? He can leave at any moment. The only good thing with Forest Rangers is they know how to write their contracts for the coaches. Maybe that is going to make him stay.
Right. Let's look at another fixture to be taking place this weekend. Big one: Power Dynamos versus Muza. Muza in 2 games, no win, 1 lose, and the latest draw. And Power Dynamos coming from that big win against Nkana at Woodland Stadium, 2-0 beating Nkana at Woodland Stadium. And now, uh, can they continue winning without Mwenye Chipepo? That's a big question that we need to uh, analyze here and talk about. Lameck, what do you think? Power Dynamos, they've won the derby without Mwenye Chipepo. Can they continue picking maximum points, and they're facing Moza tomorrow?
I think when we look at Power Dynamos, the coaches that are there have been with the team for quite some time. Songwe Chadwe, Dino Senior, they've been around for quite some time, and their title winning season. One thing that we forget to mention is the fact that in their title winning season, they for quite some time when I was away, and these guys were in charge of the team. So during those periods, I think they developed a lot of chemistry with the players, and it won't be so hard for them, I think, to get the team playing in a way that they want, because the understanding is there. They've been working with the players for quite some time now, and with Musa visiting, it's a tough match. Looking at how Musa has been performing, they've only lost once, and before week 12, before week 11, they were the only unbeaten team in the league. So it's not an easy match for Power Dynamos. Musa is a big threat. They'll go to, I think they'll go to Arthur Davis and try to compete, but I don't see Power Dynamos dropping points at home. I think they have so much quality, and they will be. It's possible for them to get a result against FC Musa. I say this with no disrespect. I think Musa is a quality team. Last season they went to Arthur Davis, picked a draw, and they built from that. So now it's up to them to now show what they can really do, how far they can go. Looking at the season that they had last, can they also go that extra mile and achieve much better than what they achieved last year?
Right. But I want to give you the big one. Is Zesco versus Nkana. Nkana, we all know, and you're one of those people that were making fun and making memes of Nkana, but now you've realized that this is becoming serious. They might be relegated. I've not seen you of late making fun of Nkana. Have you now realized that Nkana actually this season can be relegated? And what do you think of this big game against Zesco United?
No, Nkana won't be relegated. They just know how to turn things around. But there's very short story. Zesco United, Nkana is not winning that game. You understand? The best they could get is a draw. I don't think they can actually win against Zesco United. So that's the short story. We only have one winner in that game, and that winner is Zesco United. Nkana is not at a stage right now where they could actually scare. So, what do I say? If Nkana win, it's a shock. You understand? If Zesco win, everyone will understand to say, well, they were the favorite to win it. There's a lot that has to happen at Nkana. Remember what I said with Prison Leopards? That's exactly what needs to happen at Nkana with Ian Bakala. You understand? The squad that he has is not good enough. Okay? They would actually be forcing to reach to January, break into the transfer window. It is the only window, a team that would actually be counting a number of players in January, because in January teams look for 1, 2, 3. But I think you may likely see about 6 players that Nkana would actually want, because that system is not working. Look, such a big team now depending on Katuta as their main scorer, it will tell you exactly what the team is going through. But in Sunday's game, I think it is very clear. It's Zesco's to win.
Thank you for that, Bozan. But before we go, we've got one thing that we need to talk about. The ladies, they're in camp right now, preparing for their AFCON qualification, and the first game will be on Wednesday when they travel out to face Angola. Let me start with you, Lameck. The Copper Queens are back again, and we are privileged again to watch this team that came from the World Cup. But first, they need to go to Angola and pick up the points. What do you think about the game between Angola and the Copper Queens?
I think looking at the Copa Queens now, every game will be a difficult game. I think this is one thing the coaches need to tell the players, because now everyone realizes how much quality, how much potential this team has. So even games that you would think it would be easy will be difficult, because teams know that you come at them, you throw everything at them, so they will try as hard as possible to put an upset. But I think with the players available, with Kundananji, Barbara, I think Katongo available, the Lucian was available, I think Zambia can go to Angola and actually pick a result. But in Africa, traveling away is not easy. So again, this also goes to Coach Bruce. He also needs to approach such matches with a lot of caution. Try to be as careful as possible. Try not to lose, because when you lose away, it becomes difficult, because you must win at home. And some teams just come and pack the bus, and some teams will come and frustrate you all out. And if you are losing, if you lost, you need at least 2 goals for you to overturn that. If you lost maybe 1-0, but if you lost 2-1, you may need a goal, and hope the away goes through, work in your favor. But for the Copa Queens, I think they're also a work in progress. They're also a team just like the Zambia, the men's national team. It's a team that has areas that need a lot of improvement. So it's up to Coach Bruce. How much work has he put in during this period? Which players has he identified that can come and help sort some of the problems that we've seen, like the number 6 problem? Who can come in and solidify that position that we seem to struggle? What is the formation? Does he want to play with a 4-4-2, Kundananji and Barbara up front? With Grayson available, what does he do with that position now? And who does he play on the other wing? So there's a lot of questions to answer, but there are some exciting names that he's called up, and we hope to see what lineup he'll come up with, and what results he'll be giving us. In the next back-to-back games that he's playing against Angola. But it's just a word of caution that we now need to know that every game will be difficult, because teams will do twice as much work whenever they are playing us, because they know at what level we've gotten ourselves to, and they know what we can do. So they will try as much as possible, twice as much to fight.
All right, over to you, Bozani. The Copper Queens traveled out to Angola before they come back on the 5th of December to face Angola on Levi Manosa Stadium.
Definitely, they've done well than Angola. Honestly, look at the AFCON, look at the Olympics, look at the World Cup, just their preparation. There's no reason as to why we could actually go there as second fiddle. I think the Copper Queens have done everything that they need to do. Yes, there's a bit of stagnation in replenishing that team. We always seem to be going with the same. But at least if you look at this team that has been caught in, you tend to... You tend to start looking at new names that are being brought in. You are talking about Pauline, okay, one of those that we saw at Kosafa, and you get excited to say at least it's not the continuous usual names. So maybe that's the department that, for me, the technical bench should actually try to start looking around for more new players, entrance into this. We all know it's very difficult. We all know it's very difficult for now to actually be very confident with the women players. But I think the process is simple. We saw exactly that influx of players at the COSAFA. It's time that the net is cast wide, at least to have more players come in. Otherwise, with what we have, I don't see us having a challenge to qualify to the next stage.
All right, let me give it up to Mr. Abia just to wrap it up for us when Copper Queens traveled out to Angola. Mr. Abia, good evening, welcome, and also just want to hear your analysis over the game between the Copper Queens and Angola. All right, since Mr. Abia is not with us, let me thank you, Lameck, and also thank you, Bozan, for joining us for this week's Ubuntu Sports. Hope to see you next week, same time, Mr. Bozan.
Thank you, but I just broke in. I was not invited. It's good to always know where the link is found.
The link is always there where you found it, Bozan. It's readily available for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lameck, and also everyone that joined us and for the comments and the likes that you gave us and the sharing of this broadcast. Join us again next week, same time, 20 hours every Friday. It's Ubuntu Sports. Bye bye.